Hello, this is 3 of Skeins Knit and Crochet Podcast number 85, and I am Lisa. And Cryss is opening up our curtains a little bit more.
Hi. I'm here.
Thanks for taking care of that. I was just saying that we can't even count on summer to give us sunlight at this point.
Yeah.
It's been gray here for what, 2 days? 3 days now?
Wait till they dim the sun.
Oh, God. Okay, let's hope that plan got ixnayed. So, Cryss, can we see what you've been working on? Or would you like me to go first?
I've just been working on the dress.
All right.
It's been a while since y'all seen us, so progress has been made. This is actually the front.
Oh, nice.
She has sleeves now.
I absolutely love that lace pattern.
This is the front of the dress. See, here is my neckline. And I'm actually working on the back, and the back is almost finished too. I have literally one more pattern repeat to do to finish the back, but one pattern repeat is 16 rows.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, it's still gonna be maybe 2 or 3 more hours of work into this, but it's almost finished. And I'm using flax lace, a discontinued yarn by Universal. It's 100% linen and it's a lace weight, and it is been a real pleasure to work with. It doesn't wind nicely, so I have been winding my balls by hand.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, because it doesn't stick to itself the way wool does, so my skeins weren't holding themselves together. But winding into a ball, you have no problems, and it's going. It's just it. I don't know what else to say.
What size hook are you using with that? Because your stitches are super fine.
2.75. This might be the first time I've gone under 3 millimeters. That was the hook size that was recommended on the ball band, and I swatched it with that hook, and I was like, yeah, this works for me. So that's where I am.
That looks really great. So what length did you end up settling at? Did you come up with a number or?
20-something inches. I measured another dress. I measured a dress from my closet. My closet is a treasure trove of measurements, let me tell you. So however I want something to fit, if it's knee length or shorter or longer, I can find something in my closet that fits that way. And I don't even remember which dress I made. Oh yeah, this cute little dress that I actually got at Costco. And that was the dress that I used measured, and it's 20-something inches.
And did you take all of your dimensions from that dress, or was it just the length you went for?
The width as well.
Okay.
Because I wanted it to be really just outside my hip measurement, so I get that straight effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool, and I like that. It's interesting that you went with building the sleeves integral. I guess like a t-shirt?
Yes, because don't ask me how I would do shaping in this stitch pattern across 16 rows. Which row do you even decrease or increase? Yeah, because it has these little shells. I don't know if you can see, but it's got like these fan stitches. Am I showing it to you, or am I blurry?
You're blurry. Oh, okay, you just got it right there.
Yeah, you can kind of see there's fan stitches. And basically, the fans are worked over a specific multiple of stitches.
Yeah.
So I would have to keep the rows the fans are worked into that multiple of stitches.
Right.
And still be increasing and decreasing. I don't know how that would work. Because basically, you'd have to decrease by 1 multiple, I would think. I don't know. So yeah, see, I didn't want to do all of that.
Yeah,
So,
I see.
I just kept it very boxy. When you do a fancy stitch, sometimes you make a boxy thing, and that's fine. And that is how that works. Because, yeah, I wasn't even going to try to drive myself. Because I made a cardigan last year, and I got a stitch pattern from the Stitch Dictionary. And I just wanted to do a little V-neck. And realized when I got up to the V-neck, because the back was just a rectangle, that I didn't know how to decrease in the stitch pattern. And it was a very rough night me figuring that out, because of course it was like 11 o'clock when I started.
In the PM, that is.
Yes. So it was like 2, almost 3 in the morning when I finally figured out how to decrease. Because it turns out you couldn't decrease on the end of the row. You always had to decrease at the beginning of the row. Decreasing at the end of the row just didn't work. Found that out the hard way. That was like hour 1. So
Wow.
I decided ahead of time with this one, we're just going to keep it boxy, keep it cute. And that's working out just fine.
You know, you did achieve a victory last week, you know. We have had a small auntie competition in here for a few years now to see which way Rachel, our niece, would go, whether she would become a knitter or a crocheter.
So let me set it up for you. Mom and I crochet. Lisa and our other sister knit. So it's 2 and 2. So we've been fighting for the fiber soul of my niece. And Team Crochet seems to have won.
Yeah, so far Team Crochet is the winner. She left here with a hook, well, a couple of hooks, her grandma hooked her up.
And
Pardon the pun.
yarn.
And some yarn.
And she wants to make a sweater as her first project, and I couldn't talk her out of that, because she only wants to crochet because she specifically wants to make clothes, because she likes to sew and she's just very creative, but couldn't deter her from making a sweater. But we did start her with a swatch.
Yes, she did.
And we measured our swatch, and we did some math with our swatch. So now she knows how many rows and how many stitches she needs to do, and she's a little daunted by that. She don't like the numbers.
Yeah.
She does not like the numbers. But she's like, wait, I have to do this many stitches and this many rows twice? I didn't want to tell her about the sleeves yet.
Yeah. I was like, no. Don't mention sleeves.
But you know, if she keeps working on it over the course of the summer, I think by the fall she'll have a sweater. So
so far, Team Crochet is ahead.
We win, you lose. As you see, I mean, very mature about it.
As you see, that's how it's been.
But yes, we seem to have snagged a new crochet.
But the knitting is insidious, so I'm sure we'll be able to seep it in.
And you know what? I feel like, because, you know, Lisa tried to teach me how to knit once. I feel like maybe if I had never crocheted, I might have taken to knitting. But going from, you know, operating one hand to trying to operate 2 hands just wasn't a thing.
It was
so
a
I
pearl
think
stitch that did her in.
now that we've got Rachel with a hook in her hand, I think she ain't gonna change.
Wow! You didn't have to go where you just went. Wow!
But I do think knitting is harder when you already crochet.
And she took to crochet like a duck takes to water. It was amazing.
I showed her the single crochet stitch because I was like, you know, keep it simple, because how many times do you have to pull through with a double crochet stitch? I was just like, let her just get the basics. And so she started, and you know, her stitches were loose, they were uneven. And like 2 days later, she comes to me with this perfect little square swatch. And I was like, when did this happen?
Not growing on the edges all straight.
And she's left-handed, and it was very challenging teaching her left-handed. What I ended up doing was I sat her next to me because I didn't want her to be mirror image. I sat her next to me, and then I just tried crocheting with my left hand, which I managed to do, but whew, slow. But
so she doing this stitch in your dress like that?
No, I don't want to think about it. Don't want to think about it. So that she could exactly mimic my hand motion, and I think that's what helped her. But after that, she just took off on her own, and she got that stitch down real simple. I was like, wow. So
that was Cryss's crochet victory this year. This week. Drats. But we'll see. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe in the fall we'll have a first sweater to show you
we'll see.
our niece.
Although she has homework. She's going to a new school. Who gives homework before the students even start? What is that?
I know, you haven't darkened the doorstep yet.
I was like, I didn't have homework over the summer in college. How are we doing this in high school? I don't, I'm already mad at her school. How about that? What are you working
I'm
on?
feeling away. I am working on my lace tee.
So you finished the back?
Yes, the back is completely finished. I've already pin fit the back. I love how the fit is working. And what I mean by pin fit was that I pinned it to myself. I think I have a picture of it.
To your shirt.
Yeah, not to myself. I pinned it to my shirt just to see how the fit was going, because at that point I had just the back complete, and if I needed to make any changes, I could make them on the front before I got started. Okay, so I'm just gonna open this up and not drop any stitches in that process. So the neckline has this cute detail where you repeat the lace from the hem for just the stitches that will fall right across here in the curve of the neck. So that's what I'm working on now, and building up the shoulders. So very, very soon, I will also have a front completely done. Oh, look, I can actually see it. That's so neat. Let me not do that. Oh, okay, if I hold it next to my face, it focuses. All right, there you go.
Why don't we have this yet?
It's harder than it looks. Now, I did play around with the numbers of this shirt. Yes,
That's a thunderstorm.
I did play around with the numbers of this shirt so that I could make it in my yarn. So how I recentered I don't have the same number of stitches. You know what? I'm learning that I can't just pay attention to the numbers of the pattern. It's really important also to pay attention to the proportion of the numbers of the pattern. So if I notice that the front of the shirt is set up where it's 1/3 of the stitches in the middle, 1/3 on this side, 1/3 on that side, I can just do those proportions with my numbers so that it will work out. Because I can't even tell you what yarn they use. I don't think the yarn they use exists anymore. So I just rejiggered the numbers for this. And I was a little bit scared of this detail. I almost considered eliminating, but I liked it so much. I was like, you know what? Let me look and see what their numbers are looking like. And when I looked at how the stitches were apportioned, because I'm still using the same number of stitches I started with, I said, okay, I'm gonna apportion them that way too. I did have one little thing. I have 4 more stitches to complete this lace detail on one side than on the other. So what I think I'm gonna do is, instead of binding off the number they told me across this thing, which would encompass all of the stitches that the new pattern is in, I'm just going to bind off 4 less and go back to the old pattern so that my shoulder straps will be the same width. Because if it was 1 stitch that was different,
okay,
it wouldn't be noticeable, but 4 stitches, the width difference will be noticeable.
Can't you decrease as you're working the pattern? To get rid of those 4 stitches?
I don't want to get rid of them. I want to keep them.
Oh.
Because I want my shoulder straps to be the same width.
Okay.
You know, because like I said, 4 stitches is just about an inch. So an inch difference will be a visible difference that people can see. And it will drive me crazy over time every time I looked at it. So I think I'm just going to go back to the other pattern so that my shoulder straps will be the same width. But that's what's going on with this. I'm building the armhole up the side now, and she will be complete. I will confess, I did not work on this very much in the last 2 weeks. I was auntieing real hard, which included being out in 90-degree weather playing volleyball.
Who bought the volleyball net though?
It was me.
Okay.
It was me. It was fun.
Perfect.
But it was exhausting. So I will be getting, I think I'm gonna have the front done in about a week. So then I'm gonna do some sleeves, and the sleeves should be actually pretty quick, but I am going to build a sleeve based on the size of my armhole not so much based on the numbers in the pattern because they have very little relationship to my numbers. But I did learn something about increasing and decreasing in pattern because you see I had to do it here. So what the proportion that she used was to get this curve going is she would get rid of half of a repeat each time you did a decrease. So you might want to play with that when you are playing with more complicated patterns. Sometimes you can't get rid of just one stitch, but if you got rid of half the repeat, it works in the numbers. And then when you get to the next row, you can get rid of the other half of the complete box. Or you can make a box. That is completely true. But if it's something you don't want to make boxy, that's also a strategy you can try, because this is the second thing that worked pretty much that way. You got rid of some proportion of the repeat without having to get rid of the whole thing at once. Anyway, that's what's going on with my shirt. And this is in Lina by
Skeins?
Yes, Skeins Lina. This is the DK weight. It is a cotton and linen and viscose mix, and I love it. Oh, same problem with Crystal's linen that I have. So my solution was to wind the yarn around a cardboard core. This is like 2 skeins wound into one around this core, and I haven't had any problems since I did that. And that's the update on our projects.
We don't have the list this time, so who knows?
It could be anything, right? Actually, I did see something that actually gave me some food for thought on Reddit. This person had a comment. Really.
Just read it?
Yeah, let me see. Wait.
You just go to that forum?
Yeah. She's better at that kind of
I'll
stuff.
just do that.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Oh, you have your sound effects on. Oh my gosh.
I don't know when I turn them on and I can't make them go away. Okay, so this person on Reddit said, the Knit Pearl Girl has a great blog about turning slow fashion fast. And the heading is, I made this jumper in a day. But honestly for me, I just struggle with the quantity of knitwear people churn out. It's impressive that people can knit that fast, but honestly it leads to an expectation that we should all be producing piles and piles of clothes. Also, I don't understand how people have the time. Less of a snark because I admit to having a huge respect for the productivity and the skill of those creating knitted garments. However, I feel the idea of piles of knitwear at the end of the year only serves to make others feel inadequate. And she ends it by saying thoughts. And it did get me thinking about productivity culture in general. Well, there's 2 lines of thoughts I went down, but I think productivity culture is kind of invading every aspect of life, where we sort of feel the need to be productive all the time, every minute of every day. And I think that's a little crazy making, and I know I don't want that in my making life. Also, I am not, seeing that type of thing didn't trouble me because I am an incredibly slow knitter. I don't think anybody is slower than me, and I'm okay with that. Well, you didn't have to agree so wholeheartedly. I'm a very slow knitter. I have a lot of projects going on, and I'm easily distracted. So I have 3 things working against me that will never let me be a fast producer. And I'm okay with that too, because the things I do produce, I'm so excited about and so happy. Every time I wear something I made, I'm happy all day while I'm wearing it. It's kind of a thrill for me. So I don't feel the need to rush, and I don't feel the need to have a pile that's really huge at the end of the day. Because the person made a whole sweater in a day. What say you, dear sister? I see your mind's
I
working
feel
on
like
that.
they know what I'm going to say. I feel like y'all know what I'm going to say because we talked about this before. People like churning out stuff and how much social media impacts people's behavior. So they're changing their behavior to suit the algorithm instead of, what they actually do, letting that drive viewership, because obviously the trade-off is less viewers. Case in point. But the poster specifically said that, other people's piles or whatever makes her feel, or that the piles of things they make serve to make other people feel inadequate. And no to that, because I know that what I'm making, I'm going to wear and get a lot of use out of. I know what some of these people are making in these videos, they're not gonna wear.
No one's gonna wear it. No one's gonna use it.
That's the trade-off you have to make. You have to make choices that allow you to make something fast, and that means giving up most of your practical considerations, like, wearability and fit and sometimes taste. So, I just saw a video where this girl called herself making a skirt, but because apparently she's allergic to tape measures, her skirt didn't go all the way around. So as she's showing you the skirt that she's making, she was holding it here at the hip because it didn't meet. Now, was she able to crank out something that she could wrap around her hips in that one video? Like she made it that same day and was able to show it in the video? Yes. Can she go anywhere in that? No, because she's gonna have to stand like this all day.
And not even, because the gap was wide. It wasn't like she missed by an inch or two.
So I don't want that. And I think about this because I'm making these YouTube videos, and I sometimes ask myself, well, is there something I could do that would give me the kind of content people seem to like so much? But when I think about the choices I would have to make, using heavy yarns and using larger hooks, and what would I make with that I would actually like enough to wear? So far, I haven't been able to think of anything. Maybe I come up with something down the road, but right now, what I like is these finer fabrics that I'm making. So I can't make that switch. So do I get frustrated that other people get to like crank out this stuff at this impossible pace when, we're competing in the marketplace of ideas, right? They want views and I want views. Yes, of course, it's very frustrating. But my consolation is that I have this lovely wardrobe of crochet things that, like I said, I actually want to wear, and I wouldn't give that up. Another video I saw, this woman, she made one of those hexagon crochet cardigans that I don't even want to talk about right now. But she said it wore like a weighted blanket because of the yarn that she used, and I'm just like, so I don't want that. And it's a choice.
But that's where the difference lies. We're making things we actually wear out in the world.
And that is like a discussion Lisa and I have often, because Lisa's like, people aren't making things to wear. And I'm like, then what are they doing? They don't make things they intend to wear. We're like, but they're making sweaters. What do you mean they're making sweaters they don't intend to wear? But Lisa had for her, she's like squared the circle that, making these things and yarns you don't like, and making all these choices that don't make you happy, but also still making these sweaters and doing these things makes sense for her. I still can't wrap my head around it, because my only purpose in crocheting is making things I want to wear. That's what I enjoy. So some people are willing to give that up in exchange for views. Okay, I'm not.
But
what do you do?
Are they giving anything up when their purpose was not to make something usable? We've seen a lot of people, not just crocheters, knitters, all kinds of people making things that are not actually usable.
I saw a thumbnail on YouTube apparently this person has a channel about Legos, and they make things out of Legos. And their thumbnail, their video was, I flooded my Lego city. And in the thumbnail it said, you know, they use 300 gallons of water. And I was just like, but why? Like, you built this whole thing, and now you're just gonna destroy it for views. Okay.
But it's just like
so it is in every field. It's not just
it is in every
knitting
field
and crochet, but
and then it depends on the type of person you are, because our niece told me that she built an overhead shooting arm out of her Legos that she uses when she makes her overhead videos.
That's impressive.
So you have someone flooding a Lego city, and you have someone building a usable mount.
And it holds the weight.
Yes, it does.
She don't have to send me a picture
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's just the choice people have to make now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there are people who honestly might, you know, start out very naively thinking, oh, I'm just going to show what it is I do. But the allure of views is real strong.
It is.
You know, you want views.
And the internet leans towards extremes. So I made a sweater in a day is going to pick up more views than here's the process for making a sweater that fits you.
And everything I crocheted this month. What are you talking about?
This week. This month.
I have been making this dress for a month. I don't. I wouldn't even know where to start. You know what I mean? To change to that like aesthetic. I wouldn't even know where to start. But do I feel inadequate compared to no? Because I like what I'm making.
Yeah, I like what I'm making.
I like that. That's what it comes down to. But it's also that viewpoint is a huge wall to like try to get over if you're trying to also get views. And I'm really curious who these same makers would be without social media. Like, would they even be knitting or crocheting? Some probably wouldn't.
That's interesting, yeah.
And I can honestly say that I'm the same maker that I would be without YouTube. And that is my goal. That's what I want. So,
you know, there's also a
that's
conversation
just the way things are
about people who started crafting in 2020 during lockdown, and
I've been trying not to criticize those people because some of them really just needed a thing to latch onto, and I get it. It was a difficult time.
it was tough. It was tough.
I do. I mean,
you know what?
One woman we saw on the news started carving.
I just thought about the Oreo cookie
faces out of the cream in her Oreos, and she got on the news because she did a portrait of one of the newscasters,
and it was exquisite. But it was also an Oreo, and we knew she lived alone.
Yes. With a pin, she was taking a pin and carving portraits like little cameos in her Oreo. So yes, you latch on to what you need to get through it. But these are also people who have come in with limited knowledge and don't really seem to care to learn because, you know, they're rewarded for what I call the ignorance is my superpower aesthetic that they have. So they do things in really cockeyed, backwards, nonsensical ways, but, you know, they get views. Sometimes they even get views from me because sometimes I hate watch. Don't judge.
I'm like,
don't judge.
Watching this?
I saw our mom a sewing video last night, or it was the night before last, I think. And this girl, it was just chaos incarnate. First of all, I've never seen this. She had like a very low table that was on the ground. So the table like had maybe 6-inch legs. And she was sitting on the floor in her room sewing and, you know, operating the foot pedal with like her foot like this and trying to sew linings to her crochet garments. And my mom couldn't believe what she was, like her eyes were bugging out of her head. And it's fine if that's where you start, but when you're that same maker 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, I know I couldn't keep that up for that long.
No. And then, you know, I had a similar conversation with Mom where I was like, you know, we have been very fortunate in that we usually had resources that we could reach out to, whether it was a person or I tend to learn things from books, because back in the olden days before the internet, that's how one learned things. But as a crocheter, I always had at least 2 other crocheters around me that I could ask questions of. As a sewer, Mom is an expert sewer. I always had her as a resource to ask sewing questions of. As a knitter, I started out from books, and then I discovered
all alone.
I was completely alone. But I did find books and other resources to help me eventually. So I understand that sometimes when you start something, you don't have any resources. You know, all I had was knitting for dummies and teach yourself to knit visually. That was where I started. But what I don't understand is where you don't understand either, is the growth factor. How is it that you can start wherever you start, and everybody starts somewhere, but how do you not progress past that point? That's the part that baffles me.
I don't know.
And I'm not even like, oh, you got to get to some expert level. I'm not there either.
Just make your stuff fit, I would say, would be a start.
Or learn enough that you don't.
Use a tape measure.
Yeah.
Like, I will say this.
Go ahead
if you're
and
not
say
using a tape measure, I am judging you. That is all.
So specifically what that is about is that we have seen on several people's channels where they will measure.
You make a chain and then you go like this, like, oh yeah, that looks like it'll fit.
And I'm going to just say it outright here. None of that stuff is ever going to fit. And I'll tell you why. When you start stitching into that chain, it draws the chain up. So the chain will never be as long once you stitch into it as it was when you first made it. At the very least, throw a few extra chains on there to give yourself more of a chance of it fitting. Because I have literally said this to the video. So I just need to put it out there now. Yeah.
But so far, like, all I've come up with is just to keep doing what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to, like, beat the algorithm at its own game or anything like that.
And I don't want toxic productivity invading my crafting space. If you are happy with what you're making, you're happy when you're making, I don't even join a lot of knit-alongs because the pressure of the deadlines is too much for me. It is. I don't think I have ever finished a knit-along at the same time as everybody else. And I'm okay with that because, you know, I want that thing. So, you know, everybody else racing along. I don't do those knit-alongs where they dole you out some impossibly large section of the pattern each week.
And the mystery knit-along.
Yeah, because I can't keep that pace. And I did see someone, I think it might have been Nitty Natty. She actually recorded the time it took to do some of the clues in one knit-along she did. One of those clues was 33 hours. That's almost a full-time job. I was like, what? So some of the pacing is not realistic for me, and I will speak for myself. It's not realistic for me because 33 hours? Come on now.
But thoughts?
Yeah, thoughts. What do you guys think? How does that stack in some impossibly short period of time affect you? Does it affect you at all? It doesn't really affect me, but because I don't have any hopes of that sort of thing. I was surprised when we did our Everything We Made last year video at how much stuff I had actually finished over the course of the year, because each thing took me a really long time. So, like Crystal said, thoughts.
There's a morbid fascination that with watching those kinds of videos.
I will watch them.
I have to.
I admit it. Yeah,
I'm part of the problem.
I will watch those videos, but I watch them as entertainment, not as an exemplar of how to be or what to do.
But I worry that, you know, other people are looking to those videos as an example of what to do, and it's just proliferating.
And then if you can't keep the pace, you know, does that put you off?
No one wants to hear, well, this just takes time. This is going to take many, many hours. This will not be done in a week or even a month. Like, that's not fun.
And it's not extreme enough for them to.
Okay, so I don't know. Like I said, I've drawn no conclusions. I'm just making what I make and occasionally watching. But I have a question for you. We go back and forth on whether or not we want to like talk about other things on our channel in addition to knitting and crochet, so not like instead of the regular videos that we do. Are you all at all interested in like, you know, movies we watch and books we read or whatever? Because if you are, we'll throw in some of those videos too. Otherwise, we'll just, you know, keep it knitting and crochet. What I don't want to do is start like a whole other channel about like books or movies or whatever, because that's just, the logistics just doesn't work for me. But if there's actually an interest in like other goofiness besides knitting and crochet goofiness, do let us know in the comments, and we'll start tossing in some of those videos.
Cool.
So, are you done?
I think I am. Thank you for joining us once again. And those of you who just subscribed, welcome.
Bye, and stay stitching.
Bye-bye.